Who will be holding up the trophy in October? Who will win MVP? Who will have the worst record in baseball? Let's find out those questions and what all 30 teams will do in my 2023 season and playoff predictions. Let's get into it, starting with the National League West. In 5th place, the Colorado Rockies. Getting Chris Bryant back healthy will help win a few games. Tovar should be a nice rookie, but this team is pretty easily the worst team in the West. 4th place, the San Francisco Giants. Going a little bolder here, feel like most predictions will have them in 3rd. The whole Aaron or Arson Judge fiasco still has to hurt some of this team. Counted on Yas and Conforto to have bounce back years and Bart to finally live up to the hype behind home plate. Logan Webb could earn some Cy Young votes and Doval is a nice closer, but after that it can get a little shaky. 3rd place, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are one of the more underrated 1-2 punches in a rotation in baseball. Gallen will look to go from finishing 5th in Cy Young to a finalist this season. Corbin Carroll is going to live up to the hype of a number 2 prospect and become the face of the Arizona Diamondbacks with another top prospect, Jordan Lauer, most likely joining the team early this year at shortstop. 2nd place and our first playoff team, the San Diego Padres, the 4th seed in the National League. So many superstars on this team, including an MVP favorite, Manny Machado, after his new extension at 3rd. Xander joins him on the left side, coming over from the Red Sox. Darvish, Musgrove, and Snell is a good top of the rotation, and Tatis will be a huge addition in May. Winning the West yet again, and the 1 seed in the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yes, I know the Padres tucked them down in the postseason last year. We'll see how the playoffs go again, but the Dodgers won the West by 22 games last season. The Padres won't make that many games up. Losing Trey Turner and now Lux hurts a lot, but expect Muncy to get back to an all-star caliber hitter. Moving to the National League Central, in 5th place is Cincinnati Reds. Hunter Green will be one of the more exciting young players to watch this year, but keep an eye on Nick Lodolo, who put up better numbers last year. Both should carry this Reds rotation for a while. After them, the rotation and bullpen are rough, to put it nicely. Spencer Steer is a rookie they got from the Twins in the Tyler Mahle deal. He should be a solid guy at 3rd, while Ellie De La Cruz ceiling is way up there to finally be that superstar player the Reds have been craving since prime Joey Votto. In 4th, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates. O'Neal Cruz and Ke'Bryan Hayes are the current future of this team, and with a great farm system, the light is finally at the end of the tunnel. They'll have a better record in the first half, then finally get the Reynolds trade done among some other guys and be a mid-70 win team. In 3rd, we have the Chicago Cubs. If Dansby has another career year, if Bellinger is MVP Bellinger, if Hosmer plays like he did in Kansas City, there's so many ifs on this team that most, if any, won't come true. There's some big names, a solid rotation, especially after adding Tyone, but it's a high 70s win team. Pittsburgh could be better. In 2nd, the St. Louis Cardinals, the best corner infield in the game with 2 heavy favorites for MVP. The middle infield isn't quite as good, but it has potential, and speaking of potential, the outfield of O'Neill, Nootbaar, and Carlson could be elite. The rookie Jordan Walker will be joining the team sometime this season to add an extra boost to the lineup, and they even made an upgrade behind the plate, adding Wilson Contreras. The main part that hurts them is the rotation. There's names that can be very good, but just lots of question marks that need to be answered. And winning the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers, the 3 seed in the National League. Having 3 Cy Young candidates is hard to argue against. Then when those guys get you to the 9th with the lead, you'll have to face a top 3 reliever in baseball. And now they replaced a 597 OPS behind the plate with an all-star hitter. Their DH went from a way past their prime Andrew McCutchen to Jesse Winker, who has plenty of success in Milwaukee and the NL Central. They're going to need a few others to be better than they were last year. No team in the division is elite, but the dogfight between the Brewers and Cardinals will be a ton of fun to watch. And now the very loaded National League East. In 5th place, the Washington Nationals. Easily the worst team in the East and in the entire National League. The rebuild has only just begun. Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore are 2 young arms to watch, while Keibert Ruiz and CJ Abrams are exciting names in the lineup. This is a 60-win team at best. 4th place, the Marlins. With their rotation headlined by the reigning Cy Young and a handful of other young talented arms, this isn't just some pushover team. The trade for Luis Arraez finally gives another all-star caliber bat to go along with Jazz. There's a good amount of names looking for big bounce-back years in that lineup also. This team just isn't better than the top 3. This top 3 can go in any order, but in 3rd place, I have the Philadelphia Phillies, the 6th seed in the National League. Yeah, 3rd seems tough for the defending National National League champs, but it's no insult in this division. Bryce Harper won't be back until midseason, but they did booster their biggest hole, the bullpen, by trading for Soto and signing Kimbrel. The rotation is deep after the signing of Taijuan Walker. There's not a huge weakness to this team, and although in third, they still have the tools to get back to the World Series, especially if WBC Trey Turner shows up every night. Second place in the East in the 5th seed in the National League, the New York Mets. There's no way to fully replace Edwin Diaz in their bullpen after losing him for most likely the entire season. That being said, this bullpen is still really good. Throw that out there after two of the best pitchers of this generation go 7+ innings. Lineup, even losing Correa, is still deep. There's not really a below average hitter at any position. Mets fans should be very excited about how far this team can go. And win the East yet again, the Atlanta Braves, the 2 seed in the National League. The division champs upgrade at catcher. Michael Harris is only going to get better in center, and no way Ronald Acuna Jr. has another season like he did in 2022. Strider could be in the Cy Young conversation this year after his insane rookie year, and he may not even be the team's number 1. Bullpen is loaded from top to bottom. Phillies, Mets, and this Braves team should come down to the end. Moving to the American League, starting off with the West. In 5th place, the Oakland Athletics. This isn't just the worst team in the West or the American League, it's the worst in baseball by a large amount. 50 wins might be too nice. Paul Blackburn, Kyle Muller, Ken Waldachek, and Fujinami isn't the worst rotation in baseball, but that lineup is abysmal, and that's an insult to abysmal. JJ Bleday, Christian Pache, and Shane Langoliers and Ruiz are some nice young players to watch, but don't expect much from this team. 4th place, Los Angeles Angels. It'll take a postseason appearance or at least coming close to convince Shohei to stay, and a 4th place finish isn't that. Tyler Anderson is a nice addition to the rotation, but the pitching staff isn't good enough to make a run at the wild card. Like every year, expect them to be around 500, another year without Trout in the playoffs. 3rd place, the Texas Rangers. After 2 big middle infield moves last offseason, they still desperately needed to boost their rotation, and they went and added arguably the best pitcher in baseball, Jacob deGrom. It's a solid team who could compete for a wild card spot if everything goes right, but it'll be very tough to pass the top 2 in the West. 2nd place in the 4th overall seed in the American League, the Seattle Mariners. Julio Rodriguez will look to make the jump from all-star rookie season to a true MVP candidate and get the Mariners back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time in 22 years. A bullpen with a big 3 of Andres Munoz, Paul Sewald, and Diego Castillo gives them one of the better pins in baseball. So much talent in the lineup after J-Rod, and a rotation headlined by Cy Young candidate Luis Castillo and 2 younger arms, George Kirby and Logan Gilbert, right behind him. This team has the pieces to win the West, but it's tough to bet against the reigning champs. In first, win the West yet again and the number 1 seed in the American League, the Houston Astros. Losing Verlander hurts, but keep an eye on Hunter Brown, who started 2 games last year to do a great job to replace them in the rotation. The bullpen, who did so much in the postseason last year, is all still there, headlined by closer Ryan Presley. First base was their weakest place in the lineup last year, and they signed Jose Abreu to upgrade that. There's really no weak spots on this roster, and this should be the best team in the American League again this year. Now to the Central, 5th place, the Detroit Tigers. For a team that's been rebuilding since their 86-win season in 2016, you'd like to believe they'd be better than 7 years later. And the Central is not strong by any means either. The rotation is subpar. Hopefully Casey Mize can return from Tommy John and back surgery sometime this year. They traded their best bullpen arm to the Phillies, and the most exciting part of this team is at first base and center field. Turkelson needs a bounce back year after being demoted his rookie year, and Riley Green just needs to keep improving after an okay first year. Low 70 wins team. 4th place, the Kansas City Royals. They won't be competing for a playoff spot, but they might have multiple second-year players to keep an eye on. Bobby Witt Jr. is a franchise guy, but MJ Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino are 2 guys that can take a big jump this year. The rotation is not good, nor flashy, and the bullpen is solid. 3rd place, the Chicago White Sox. The only notable change wasn't on the roster, but at manager, which was probably their biggest problem last year. There's still plenty of talent on this team who have been injured. Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, while Andrew Vaughn is finally getting his chance at first base after Jose Abreu left. The potential is through the roof, and if everyone stays healthy and performs, they can win the Central. 2nd place in the 6th seed in the AL, the Minnesota Twins. Keeping Correa after initially losing him twice was huge because there wasn't an internal option to start the season. Losing Arraez hurts the lineup, but getting Pablo Lopez in that trade was more important with the rotation woes. The rotation is now above average, still not elite. The bullpen is good. Minnesota will need Kirilloff and Gallen to play like they're supposed to play if they want to finish ahead of Chicago and possibly win the Central. And in first, the third overall seed in the American League, the Cleveland Guardians. The division champs of last year get it done again after a solid offseason and Josh Bell at first and Mike Zunino behind the plate. They got a few games better if anything. Oscar Gonzalez and Steven Kwan will improve after their solid rookie seasons, and the team is still headlined by arguably the best third baseman in the game, Jose Ramirez, and breakout all-star last year, Andres Gimenez. Emmanuel Clase as closer is one of the best relievers in the game, and this rotation is very good. It will be a bloodbath between these top three teams all the way down to game 162. And last but not least, or should I say east, in 5th place the Boston Red Sox. Rafael Devers is a one proven great hitter on this team. Tristan Casas is a nice prospect at first, and Masataka Yoshida had a great WBC and will be fun to watch. The pitching top to bottom is not good, especially in the juggernaut American League East. It's an easy last place finish for Boston. 4th, the Baltimore Orioles, 83 wins last year without Adley and Gunnar Henderson playing the full season. Grayson Rodriguez and Colton Cowger will join the team sometime this season. This is a very young, and although still finishing in 4th, will be one of the more exciting teams to watch in all of baseball. 3rd place, the New York Yankees. After being on a historic place last year, they were a 500 team in the second half, a second half that carried over to struggles in the postseason. There's already multiple injuries in the rotation and a Harrison Bader, while at the same time, Josh Donaldson and Aaron Hicks are still expected to start. The lineup isn't good enough, but they'll still come very close to win the East, even in 3rd place. In 2nd and the 5th overall seed, the Tampa Bay Rays. The rotation headlined by one of the Cy Young favorites, Shane McClanahan, newly signed Zach Eflin, breakout Drew Rasmussen, and newly extended Jeffrey Springs gives them some very good starters, even if not the biggest names. Isaac Paredes and Randy Arozarena had an incredible WBC with Team Mexico. Wander Franco has shown what he can do in an injured season and a shortened rookie year. If he can play a full season to the level he's capable of, then the Rays have their first big star since Evan Longoria. We already know the bullpen will get it done without big names, like it always does, as this Rays team will be in the middle of this 4-team race. And in first, the number 2 seed in the American League, the Toronto Blue Jays. A disappointment in last season getting swept in the wild card to the Mariners. Varsho is a huge add in the outfield, and he's destined for a big breakout year, and they did it by trying a catcher, a position they were loaded at. Vladdy Jr. will be back in MVP talks again, and that really good lineup comes with a couple Cy Young candidates in the rotation. This top 3 can go in any order, and it'll all come down to the final few games. Before we get into the postseason predictions, let's do Cy Young MVP and Rookie of the Year. In the National League, the Cy Young, Atlanta Braves Spencer Strider, and in the American League, Houston Astros Framber Valdez. Rookie of the Year in the National League, Corbin Carroll, and in the American League, mentioned him before to replace Justin Verlander, Hunter Brown. And lastly, the most valuable player in the National League, Manny Machado, and in the American League, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Let's start off with the National League playoffs. The 6-seed Phillies against the 3-seed Brewers. The Brewers take the Phillies down in 3, and the 5-seed Mets versus the 4-seed Padres. The Padres get it done in 3. The 3-seed Brewers against the 2-seed Braves. The Braves take down the Crew in 4, and the 4-seed Padres versus the 1-seed Dodgers. The Padres do not get it done like they did last year. The Dodgers get revenge and win in 4. And in the National League Championship Series, another rematch of the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Braves get the upset and take down the Dodgers in 6 to advance to the World Series. Who will be meeting the Braves in the 2023 World Series? Let's look at the American League. The 6-seed Twins against the 3-seed Guardians. The Guardians take down their division rival in 3 games. In the 5-seed Rays versus the 4-seed Mariners, Rays get swept again in the Wild Card Series, and the Mariners win in 2. And then the ALDS, the 3-seed Guardians versus the 2-seed Blue Jays. The Guardians get the upset and take down Toronto in 5 games. And the 4-seed Mariners against the 1-seed Astros. Even though the Mariners came up short in the American League West, the Mariners pull off the huge upset and take down Houston in 5 games. And in the American League Championship Series, the 4-seed Mariners versus the 3-seed Cleveland Guardians. Let's get crazy. The Cleveland Guardians take down the Mariners in 6 games to play the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. And in the 2023 World Series, we have the 2-seed Atlanta Braves versus the 3-seed Cleveland Guardians. And my World Series champion will be in 2023. The Atlanta Braves take down the Guardians in 6 games to get their second World Series championship in just 3 years. Possibly a start of a dynasty with all those younger guys they have under contract for the next decade. Yes, I already know you guys completely disagree with these predictions, unless you're a Braves or Guardians fan. That's completely fine. Let me know who you guys think is going to hold up the trophy, who's going to win your guys' division down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed, even if you guys disagree, that's completely fine. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. You guys have an absolute beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video.